Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Mfume, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and thank the ranking member for calling us together on this. Administrator Carnahan, it's good to see you. To say the very least, you have a tough job, and a job that oftentimes goes without a lot of thanks. So I want to, at least on behalf of this member of the committee, thank you for the way you have proceeded in leading the GSA and for your willingness to be very transparent and open before this committee and other committees about a lot of things that we are all interested in but don't always understand. I had hoped that we would spend most of the day talking about consolidation of federal properties, the disposal of federal properties, and the occupation rates, or the lack thereof, and what kind of cost savings could be gleaned for the American taxpayer. I'm particularly interested and would like to get at another time a detailed sort of orientation about the disposal of lease space and rent space and the plan that you have put together that will save $60 billion over the next 10 years. It's very, very important, and I want to come back to cost in just a moment to make another point. Mr. Chairman, I do want to say something about this matter that has come up a couple of times about relocation, and I'd like to ask unanimous consent that GSA's 40-page decision document be entered into the record of this committee in this hearing, and I would ask also unanimous consent that the support letter and the reasons for the very strong support across the country, particularly by the National Urban League and the National Action Network, also be entered into the record without objection, I hope.
Without objection on both items, so ordered.
Thank you. A couple of things, Madam Administrator. I want to go back to something that was mentioned earlier that I think bears repeating, and that is that the Virginia location was never a part of the original plan for the relocation, and that this has gone on for 15 years with House and Senate committees working in tandem, Democrats and Republicans, to address the overwhelming need to replace the FBI headquarters and to establish a level playing ground for a competitive bidding process, which we have, and to make sure that we find a way to protect and to support the men and women that are working there. As many of you may not know, there's been a net around the FBI building for a while because of falling debris. There was an employee there just a week or so back that had the ceiling and parts of it fall on their desk while they were working. It is not a digitally friendly building in terms of its conversion to do and be what it has to be to compete and to guard against threats that take place in this country. And without this sort of new emphasis and new opportunity, we risk the chance that we could fall further behind. This is mind-boggling to me, but I would think, if nothing else, we'd have to make sure that this particular agency is empowered to do what it has to do. Now, a couple of quick things about this selection. Madam Administrator, Greenbelt, Maryland is the most accessible of all of the locations. Is that correct?
That's what was found by the Site Selection Authority. It's right on a metro line and a transit line, and the site in Springfield was about a half a mile
And
long.
Greenbelt provides, by that same committee, the greatest schedule certainty. Is that correct? Did you know it?
That's correct, because it doesn't require relocating existing tenants.
And Greenbelt offers the greatest opportunity for the government's investment to positively impact the greater Washington, D.C. area, both on the Maryland side and the Virginia side. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Greenbelt has the lowest overall costs to taxpayers. The total project was to acquire and to build the building was, I think, at some point estimated to be $26 million. That's gone up over time, but in comparison to the Springfield, Virginia site, it significantly dwarfs it in terms of cost savings. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is it correct that the Senate has set aside over $300 million for this project, that money is already there through appropriations?
There is some money that's already been appropriated.
Yeah, I think it's 375, but we'll get it accurate. And is it true that the aggregate savings by having this building built and located where you have and your committee has decided saves $1 billion to the American taxpayers. Is that correct?
I'm not sure where that number comes from, but we did determine it was the lowest cost for taxpayers.
And I will share with you in the committee where how that number was derived, but it is a significant cost. And so if we're really concerned and really conservative here about making sure that we are spending taxpayers' dollars efficiently and effectively, and this we've wasted, as we have, 15 years of trying to make a decision, and if our law enforcement agency, the FBI, is outdated in terms of its capability because of limitations of its current space, it just seems to me that the best thing here is to find a way to take advantage of what has been a very, very, very transparent process. It has gone through every sort of disclosure, and everybody has looked at it, and not everybody is happy with it, but at some point in time, we can't please everybody. So I want to thank you, Madam Administrator. This was not meant to be the topic of the hearing, but it's important for the record, at least, that we all understand how we got to where we are, and I hope that the chairman will indeed bring you back again for some of these other questions.
Gentleman's time's expired.